Hello, beautiful souls. Welcome in tonight. I want to tell you exactly what just changed because something very real shifted in the sky this week, and if you've been feeling it, I want you to understand why. On March 10th, Jupiter stationed direct. Jupiter is the planet of expansion, of abundance, of blessings, and it has been moving backward through the sign of Cancer since November 11th. That's 4 months. 4 months where the largest planet in our solar system was retrograde in the sign that governs your home, your family, your sense of emotional safety. And as of this week, that's over. Forward motion has resumed. Now, here's what makes this particular station so important. Jupiter doesn't just happen to be in Cancer right now. Jupiter is exalted in Cancer. In traditional astrology, that means Jupiter is operating at its absolute peak. This is Jupiter at full strength, in the sign where it delivers its deepest gifts. And we won't see this again for another 11 years. Jupiter won't return to Cancer until 2037. So what's unlocking for you right now, in your life, in the weeks ahead? This is not a small moment. And I want to walk you through exactly what it means for your sign, which houses it's activating, and what you can expect to start opening up between now and June. If November through February felt heavier than you expected, slower, murkier, harder to explain, I want you to understand exactly what was happening and why. Let me give you the full picture of what we've been moving through. Jupiter entered Cancer on June 9th of last year. And for the first several months, things felt expansive, hopeful. Many of you experienced real growth in your home life, your family connections, your sense of inner security. Jupiter in Cancer was doing what Jupiter in Cancer does, nurturing everything it touches. Then on November 11th, Jupiter stationed retrograde at 25 degrees of Cancer. And something shifted. Not dramatically for most of you, not a crisis, not a collapse. More like a slow thickening, a heaviness that settled in. Decisions that had been moving forward suddenly stalled. Family situations that seemed to be resolving got complicated again. Financial opportunities that were almost there went quiet. And underneath all of that, for many of you, a deeper feeling, a questioning of what home even means to you now, what safety really looks like in this chapter of your life, what you actually need versus what you thought you needed. Jupiter retrograde is a little like winter. The growth doesn't stop, it just goes underground. Roots deepen where you can't see them. And what's happening now, with Jupiter stationing direct, is the first warm day where you can feel that something beneath the surface is ready to push through. The station happened at 15 degrees of Cancer, and this is significant for a specific reason. Jupiter entered its retrograde shadow all the way back on August 17th of last year at this exact degree, 15 degrees Cancer. So the ground you're standing on right now is ground. Jupiter has been working since last August. It's been tilled, it's been prepared, the seeds are already in the soil. What changes now is that they finally have permission to grow upward. I also want you to notice the timing of this station and how it connects to what's been happening in the sky around it. On March 3rd, just 1 week before Jupiter went direct, we experienced a total lunar eclipse in Virgo. Eclipses are moments of karmic release, and this one was on the South Node, which means it was asking us to let go of something. Old habits, old ways of coping, old patterns of overwork or self-sacrifice. If you felt an emotional wave move through you in early March, if something surfaced that you thought you'd already processed, that eclipse was clearing the ground. And Jupiter's direct station 1 week later is the forward motion that follows that release. The eclipse swept the path. Jupiter is now walking you down it. Then, on the day before Jupiter went direct, March 9th, Jupiter at 15 degrees Cancer formed an exact trine to Mercury at 15 degrees Pisces. That's a water trine. Jupiter in Cancer, Mercury in Pisces. Heart and mind in complete harmony, both flowing in the same intuitive direction. And Mercury is also retrograde right now. which means this isn't just forward motion, it's forward motion informed by deep reflection. You haven't been sitting still these past 4 months. You've been doing inner work, whether you realized it or not. And now that inner work is ready to become outer movement. And one more detail I find beautiful. The day after Jupiter stationed direct, March 11th, the last quarter moon arrived in Sagittarius, the sign that Jupiter rules. This is a lunar phase of release and clearing, happening in Jupiter's own sign. The very day after Jupiter begins moving forward again. It's as if the sky is saying, clear out whatever remains, because Jupiter is ready to carry you forward. If you've been feeling this shift already, even in small ways, even just a lightness you can't quite explain, I'd love to hear about it. Tell me in the comments what's been showing up for you this week. Sometimes just naming it makes it more real. Now, this Jupiter direct station is happening against a backdrop that I think is important to understand. On February 20th, just 3 weeks ago, Saturn and Neptune formed their conjunction at 0 degrees of Aries. This is a transit that happens roughly every 36 years, but at the very first degree of the zodiac, at what astrologers call the Aries point, this hasn't happened in over 300 years. We are living through a genuine paradigm shift. The structures of our lives, the dreams we carry, the way we understand reality itself, all of it is being reorganized at the deepest level. And Jupiter going direct in Cancer is the first truly benefic green light inside that reorganization. It's as if the universe has been remodeling the foundation of your life for months, and Jupiter direct is the moment you can finally start to see the shape of what's being built. Not all of it, not yet. But enough to feel hope again. And real hope, not the kind someone tells you to feel, but the kind that rises naturally when you begin to see a path forward. Let me walk you through what this means for each sign. And I want you to listen not just for your sun sign, but for your rising sign too. If you know your rising sign, that's often where you'll feel this transit most concretely in your daily life. Aries. Jupiter has been moving through your 4th house, the house of home, family, roots, and your inner foundation. If the last 4 months brought upheaval or uncertainty in your living situation, or if family dynamics felt heavier than usual, or if you found yourself questioning where you truly belong, that retrograde was doing deep work in the most private part of your chart. Jupiter direct here means that housing decisions start to clarify. Family healing moves forward, and your sense of inner stability, that feeling of having solid ground beneath you, begins to return. Watch for a specific development around your home or family between now and late April. Taurus. This transit has been activating your 3rd house communication, daily connections, siblings, neighbors, short trips, and the way your mind processes information. During the retrograde, you may have noticed conversations stalling, misunderstandings with people close to you. A feeling that your words weren't landing the way you intended, or that important information was being delayed. Jupiter going direct reopens these channels. If there's a conversation you've been putting off with a sibling, a neighbor, someone in your daily life, the next few weeks give you an unusually supportive window for it. Your words carry more weight now, and they'll be received with more warmth than you expect. Gemini. Jupiter has been in your 2nd house of finances, personal resources, and self-worth. This is one of the most tangible placements for Jupiter, and its retrograde may have shown up as income disruption, delayed payments, or a deeper questioning of what you value and how you earn. Some of you may have been re-evaluating your entire relationship with money and security. With Jupiter direct, financial flow begins to improve. Opportunities you thought had dried up start to reappear. And something important, your sense of what you're worth, what you deserve to receive, shifts in a way that feels more grounded and more honest than before. Cancer. This is your 1st house. Jupiter has been transiting your sign, your identity, your physical body, your sense of self. And I want to speak to you directly for a moment. because having Jupiter retrograde in your own sign can feel deeply personal. It's as if the expansion that was meant for you got turned inward, growth that was supposed to be visible became invisible. You may have felt unseen. You may have questioned your direction, your purpose, even your sense of who you're becoming. Jupiter direct in your first house is one of the most personally powerful transits you can experience. Over the next 3 months, as Jupiter moves through the remaining degrees of your sign, opportunities arrive that feel like they were designed specifically for you. Trust what opens. It is yours. Leo. Jupiter has been quietly working in your 12th house, the house of the unconscious, of rest, of spiritual development, and of everything hidden. This is a deeply internal placement, and during the retrograde, some of you may have experienced vivid dreams, a pull towards solitude, old emotional material rising to the surface, or a sense that something was completing behind the scenes but you couldn't quite see what. Jupiter direct in the 12th house means that the spiritual and emotional processing you've been doing begins to produce visible results. Not immediately, the 12th house works on its own timeline, but you may notice that burdens you've been carrying feel lighter. That forgiveness comes more easily. That something you've been grieving finally begins to release its grip. Virgo. Your 11th house has been activated friendships, community, long-term hopes, and the groups you belong to. Jupiter's retrograde here may have shown up as social withdrawal, a re-evaluation of which friendships truly nourish you, or a shift in the organizations and communities you're involved with. Some of you may have quietly stepped back from a group that no longer felt aligned. Jupiter direct brings the right people forward, new connections that feel supportive and genuine, invitations to communities where you actually belong, and a renewed sense of hope about your future, not vague hope, but specific, grounded optimism about where your life is heading. Libra, this has been happening in your 10th house, your career, your public reputation, your legacy, what you're known for and what you're building toward. The retrograde period may have felt like professional stagnation, projects delayed, recognition withheld, a deep questioning of whether the path you're on is the right one. Jupiter direct begins to answer those questions, not all at once, but through doors that open, conversations that shift, and a growing sense of clarity about what you want your contribution to be. If you've been waiting for permission to step into something bigger, the timing is supporting you now. Scorpio, I want to be honest with you, this transit hasn't been the easiest for your sign. Jupiter has been in your 9th house beliefs, higher learning, travel, faith, and your larger philosophical understanding of life, and its retrograde triggered something deeper than casual doubt. This was the kind of questioning that shakes your foundation before it rebuilds it stronger. Some of you may have been drawn back to spiritual practices you'd left behind, or found yourselves unable to accept answers that used to satisfy you. Jupiter direct in the 9th house means your worldview is expanding again, but now it's expanding from a place of genuine understanding rather than assumption. Travel plans may resume. Educational opportunities may reappear, and your sense of meaning begins to feel solid again, in a way it hasn't since last fall. For Sagittarius, this has been unfolding in your 8th house, and I know that's not always comfortable territory, even for a sign as naturally bold as yours. The 8th house governs shared resources, intimacy, deep transformation, inheritance, debts, and the kind of change that requires letting something go before something new can arrive. Jupiter retrograde here may have brought financial complications involving other people's resources, a partner's income, an insurance matter, an inheritance, a debt. Or it may have worked at a more psychological level, asking you to release control, to trust, to allow yourself to be supported. Jupiter direct begins to resolve what has been tangled. Shared financial matters move toward resolution. And the transformation you've been resisting, the one that asks you to become a slightly different person than you were, begins to feel less like loss and more like liberation. Capricorn, Your seventh house has been activated partnerships, marriage, committed relationships, and significant one-on-one connections. If the last 4 months brought tension in a relationship, or if you found yourself deeply re-evaluating what you need from a partner, or if a business collaboration felt stuck, that was Jupiter retrograde working in the most relational part of your chart. Jupiter direct here is genuinely beautiful. It's like a door in your house that's been stuck for months. You stopped trying it. You walked past it every day. And then one morning, without any force at all, it opens. Relationships that felt strained begin to breathe again. New partnerships that are meant for you begin to take shape. And your understanding of what you actually want from another person becomes clearer and more honest than it's been in a long time. If you're hearing your sign and recognizing your own experience in what I'm describing, I want to know. Tell me in the comments what house is being activated for you and what has the last 4 months felt like. I find that when we name our experience, we begin to move through it differently. Aquarius, your experience of this transit may have been quieter than some, but it's no less important. Jupiter has been moving through your sixth house, daily routines, health, work habits, and acts of service. This is the house of how you take care of your life on a practical, everyday level. During the retrograde, some of you may have experienced health concerns that required attention, disruptions to your daily routine, or a growing awareness that the way you've been living day to day isn't sustainable. Jupiter direct brings support for the changes you need to make. Health matters begin to improve or clarify. Work situations that felt overwhelming start to become manageable. And here's something I want you to hear: it's okay to need help. Jupiter in the sixth house is asking you to accept support, not just give it. Pisces. Jupiter has been in your fifth house, creativity, joy, romance, your inner child, and the things that make life feel genuinely worth living. And since Jupiter is your traditional ruling planet, this transit carries extra weight for you. The retrograde may have dimmed your creative spark, or brought up old wounds around self-expression, or made joy feel somehow out of reach. Some of you may have revisited a past romance or found old creative projects calling to you again. Jupiter direct in your fifth house is one of the most joyful transits in astrology. Creativity returns not as a performance, but as a genuine need of your soul. If there's something you've been wanting to make, to write, to paint, to begin, this is the energy that supports it. Let yourself play again. There are a few things I want you to carry with you from all of this, because knowing about a transit is one thing, and knowing what to do with it is another. First, the timing. Jupiter is direct now, but it's still at 15 degrees of Cancer. It needs to travel all the way back to 25 degrees, where it originally went retrograde before the full cycle completes. That happens on June 6th. So think of March through early June as a building period. Things don't snap into place overnight. They thaw. They unfold. What Jupiter in Cancer is offering you right now isn't a storm of blessings. It's a steady warmth. The kind that thaws things slowly, and what thaws slowly holds. Be patient with the pace. Second, if you know your birth chart, look at where 15 degrees of Cancer falls. Whatever house that occupies in your chart is where Jupiter's forward motion will be most felt. And if you have any natal planets between 15 and 25 degrees of Cancer, or of any cardinal sign, Aries, Libra, or Capricorn, you're in a particularly significant window. Those of you born around July 6th through July 18th, October 7th through October 19th, January 5th through January 16th, or April 4th through April 15th of any year, will feel this station most personally. Third, I'd encourage you to think back to 2013. The last time Jupiter transited Cancer was from June 2013 to July 2014. What was happening in your home life then? In your family? in your sense of emotional security. There may be threads from that time that are completing now, things that began then and are reaching a new level of resolution or growth in this current transit. And if you're feeling called to mark this transition with intention to consciously release what the last 4 months brought up and open yourself to what Jupiter is now bringing forward, I've put together a new beginnings purification ritual designed for exactly this kind of shift. It's at meilinastro.com, and the link is in the description if you feel drawn to it. Fourth, and this is simple but powerful, pay attention to what opens easily in the coming weeks. Jupiter Direct doesn't usually announce itself with fireworks. It announces itself with flow, a conversation that leads somewhere unexpected, an email you'd stopped waiting for, a feeling in your body like something unclenching. Notice what moves. Follow what feels warm. I want to leave you with something tonight. Cancer is the sign of the mother, the nurturer, the one who holds. And Jupiter exalted in Cancer is saying something very simple to each of you tonight. You are held. Whatever the last 4 months asked of you, the patience, the uncertainty, the emotional weight of it, that was not wasted time. That was preparation. Your roots went deeper than you know. And what grows from deep roots doesn't topple in the first wind. We are living through an extraordinary time. I know you feel it. The Saturn-Neptune conjunction in Aries, Uranus preparing to change signs, the eclipses of this year, everything in the sky right now is pointing toward a deep collective transformation. And inside that transformation, it can be easy to feel unmoored, to wonder whether the changes happening around you and within you are leading somewhere meaningful or just leading. Jupiter going direct in Cancer is your answer to that question. Yes, it is leading somewhere. And the path forward runs through the most human part of your chart, through home, through family, through the people and places where you feel safe enough to be yourself. The expansion that's coming isn't loud. It doesn't require you to perform or prove anything. It asks you to open, to receive, to trust that what's arriving was always meant for you, and that the timing, your timing, is exactly right. Between now and June 30th, when Jupiter leaves Cancer for the last time in over a decade, you have a window. Not a frantic, urgent, grab it or lose it window. That's not how Cancer energy works. A slow, warm, generous window. A window to build something that lasts, to repair something that matters, to come home to yourself in whatever way that phrase speaks to you. And I want you to trust what's coming, not because I'm telling you to, but because 4 months of inner work has prepared you to receive it. You've done the hard part, the quiet part, the invisible part. Now comes the part where it starts to show. If this message reached the right person tonight, share it with them. You know who came to mind. Send them this video. Sometimes the most important thing we can do for someone we love is say, I think you need to hear this. And if this kind of depth is what you've been looking for, if you want astrology that respects your intelligence and speaks to your real life, I'm here every week. I would love to have you. Thank you for being here tonight, beautiful souls. Take this energy with you into the week and come back and tell me when things start to move, because they will. I'll see you in the next one. Good night.